the state that has been kidnapping people is the Russian state under Vladimir Putin. Has been kidnapping Ukrainian children, for goodness sake. And Aaron wants us, our listeners, to focus on draft dodgers being arrested. It's just sickening.
Those images, hang on, Aaron, hang on. Matt, those images of what you call draft dodgers, I would say are young men that don't want to go to war and are being seized from the street to be taken to war. How time
countries work, Bev. It's how it would have worked.
So is it okay? Is it okay?
They were at war with Germany.
Hang on, one at a time.
If Matthew wants to support sending young Ukrainians who don't want to fight off to die, that's his prerogative. My point is, I think that it's a much better solution to have some kind of peace deal that retains what's left and what's possible of the Istanbul Agreement, which, by the way, the Trump administration has talked about reviving. I think that's a better alternative than sending more young people off to die, whether they want to sacrifice themselves or not.
It's outrageous. Every war that you can think of. You think of the Second World War, you had conscription. You didn't have conscription for the Iraq War. It wasn't required. And we weren't ourselves directly under threat. And again, we can debate the rights and wrongs of the Iraq War and Western foreign policy. But to start attacking Ukraine for having conscription, which is the most basic thing a state does when it comes under a direct attack, is just outrageous.
Matt, old is your, hang on, Matthew, how old is your oldest child?
Well, here we go. Here's the next question. Am I prepared to see my children become peacekeepers? They're unlikely, though they may do, and if they want to join the army, I'll support it. They're unlikely to join the army. They're 2 and they're 8 weeks old. But if we ever get to a position, Bev, let's cut to the chase. If they ever get to the position of having to defend of Britain being under attack, then of course I would support their subscription, their conscription rather.
Wow.
And I hope very much that I would be conscripted myself if Britain comes under attack, because I'm very proud of my country. And my grandfather, by the way, won the Military Cross for his role in the D-Day landings, going up to the enemy lines, the German lines in France, paving the way amongst many millions of others for our continent and for our countries to be free countries, along with the help, the very, very important help.
Well, I'll tell you what I hope, Matt.
Aaron's country, America.
I tell you what I hope, because I have a 21-year-old son and I have teenage girls who, if this conflict carries on being pushed forward in the way that the EU particularly and Keir Starmer seem to want it to do without any sort of resolution, I would really hope there are a lot of conversations going on in the media like this to demonstrate that war is not simple. It isn't black versus white. And if I felt the principle of sending my children to the front line was wrong, I would stand in front of the door and I would rather be shot than my children dragged out of a car to go and defend their country. And I would suspect that you will too.
Not about to conscript your 21-year-old son, Bev, so stop being alarmist, because it's just not happening.
You're right, it's not happening, even if they try. And I would say to Keir Starmer, there's your teenage son. Let's see your teenage son go first.
You're creating straw men, and Aaron is sort of half smiling. You know it's nonsense, and you shouldn't attempt to frighten or manipulate your listeners and viewers into pretending otherwise.
It's not nonsense, because we are talking about sending peacekeeping troops to Ukraine, which is going to put British soldiers in that area, which can become a conflict zone.
It will only happen with an American security backstop, Bev, as you know. It will only happen if Trump gives a security guarantee, which at the moment he's not prepared to do. So this is very distant, but the people who will be going are people who are professional soldiers. And when you're a professional soldier, it kind of works like that. Your prime minister, your government decides to send you into to work in a certain situation, and I have nothing but respect for the British Armed Forces who do sign up voluntarily, 100%. Bev, in a democracy.
100%. But that conversation started because of pictures of young men being dragged off the streets and into the backs of cars that we've all seen, and that you can't present any evidence that are false. You can't present any evidence that those pictures are false.
You can't draft dodge when your country is under attack. That's what happens.
Gentlemen, we have to wind it up there. I really appreciate your contributions, because there are not enough of these conversations. There haven't been enough of these conversations while this whole conflict is going on, where we bring two minds together who see things very differently and we try to get somewhere. I'm not sure we did get anywhere, but we are all agreed on the fact that we would like less war, I think, and we would like more.
We want peace. We want peace. The question is how to get there.
We do. Right, Aaron Maté, Matthew Stadlen, thank you so much for joining me.